I'll be talking about management of long-standing post-traumatic subluxated cataracts. I have no financial interest in any of the procedures, techniques, or devices used. So as we all know, subluxated cataract is probably the only type of cataract that still poses a challenge to the experienced phacosurgeon. How are the post-traumatic subluxated cataracts different? Often, these are younger patients, but not invariably. The remaining unaffected zonules are strong, with no weakness or laxity of remaining zonules. The anterior vitreous hyaloid phase is usually stable unless it's a penetrating injury. Surgery is therefore more comfortable and relatively safer, and we can get away with minimal capsular support devices than usual. Capsular integrity, however, may be compromised, and we have to be careful about that. So what are the capsule supports? It could be internal or external, and this is how it evolved also. The internal supports were the capsular tension rings, followed by Sionese rings, which came in, and then capsule segments. External supports were by iris hooks and followed by the dedicated capsular support systems, commonly known as capsular hooks. So if you look at the iris hooks versus capsular hooks, you see the differences. The iris hooks have a shorter return and it's more angulated compared to the capsule hooks. The return is longer and it's at the plane of the capsule. Because of this shorter return and because of this angulation, when it's applied to the capsule rhexis edge, it may cause a tenting, and sometimes if the quality is not good, it may also cause a tearing. And moreover, the capsule fornix is not supported as in capsule hooks. So the advantages of capsular hooks are that it supports both the rhexis edge as well as the capsule fornix. Capsular tension rings were the first ones to come out for such devices. They're very economical, very effective, and a very simple mechanism of circumferential expansile forces. And they enhance IOL centration, but they have their certain limitations that sometimes the cortex can get entrapped. Sionese rings were designed for scleral fixation along with the suture, essentially a CTR ring with a hook and an eyelet at here so that it can be fixated to the sclera. They essentially modified CTRs with a distal eyelet on a fixation hook 0.25 mm above the plane of the ring, and suture to the sclera provides additional stability used in more significant subluxations. Then came the capsule segments, which are essentially truncated Sionese rings. If you could imagine this arc going further down, it would be a Sionese ring. So it's basically been truncated. And they're partial ring segments with a fixation hook for temporary or permanent fixation. With one or more segments can be used in a surgery. And the placement advantage is that placements are and removal is quite easy and atraumatic, and stripping of cortex out is also very easy. For comparing CTR with Sionese provides all the benefits of a CTR ring, and in addition, it provides enhanced stability. But the downside is that it's technically more difficult. There's a learning curve, steep learning curve, and CTR is good for 2 to 3 clock hours. Anything more, you should provide a scleral fixation, because otherwise the zonules may dehisce with time. There is an unzipping effect with IOL tilt and decentration, and sometimes the IOL and back complex can even fall in the vitreous. We're comparing Sionese ring with capsule segments. Well, Sionese, if anyone who's done a Sionese ring implantation knows how difficult and flimsy they can be. It's a very flimsy structure, the ring itself, with 2 strands of 9O or 10O proline sutures there, confusing everything, and surgery can be quite tricky. Segments, on the other hand, are smaller and easier to handle. And the ring, though, has an advantage of circular expansion of the back, but this can be offset by additional CTI implantation along with the capsule segments if required. Surgical technique, I think I'll just go quickly over it. Basically, important thing is do a viscoat layering the area of zonular dialysis to prevent admixture of the irrigating fluid with the vitreous. And capsulotomy should be done such that the rhexis edge is maintained with respect to the lens diameter and not the pupil. Otherwise, you'll have an eccentric one. It appears eccentric, but it's then central and should be about 5 millimeters. The capsule hooks should be placed through relatively vertical incisions. They should not be too beveled like the ones we use for iris hooks. And the placement is at 90-degree intervals for diffuse zonal laxity and 45 degrees for absence of zonules in a region. And do not tighten the hooks, just a slight tug is required. The hydro procedure should be gentle, and nucleus management should be by slow motion phaco with no dialing of nucleus. And the CTR, Sionese, and capsule segments are usually implanted after nucleus removal, or although the CTR may be replaced prior to nucleus removal. Irrigation aspiration is done with the support systems in place, and IOL implantation is done with no minimum dialing. I'll show a video of a CTR injection. This is a very old video, I think dated to 2000, the year 2000. And this was a traumatic cataract patient, was in mid-20s, large zonular dialysis area. I'm sorry about the quality because this was recorded in 2000 on a VHS and converted at that time itself. And the idea of including this video was that in today's day and age, I would never do it. This amount of subluxation and just getting away with a CTR implantation, I would never even dream of it. But at that time, there was nothing else available. CTR in fact, what this surgery was supposed to be cutting edge at that point of time. This is an indigenous designed CTR injector that we designed and still available and works very well.
Video is not moving.
It's not moving.
We can only see the hourglass.
The hyperlink will not work in Zoom.
Hyperlink will not work?
No. You can go to the next slide.
Just a second. Then let me just, I'll have to take it manually then. Is this working?
No.
Can you see this?
No.
No, but this is direct.
No, that also will not.
You have to stop sharing your screen and then you'll have to.
No, that also will not work, Dr. Satyajit.
So how do you show a video then?
Then you have to embed in the slide only.
Okay. So because these are hyperlinked.
Hmm.
So let me just try and embed then if possible, and maybe I'll come back. Is that okay, Satyajit?
We can show it at the end. We can show that video in the end.
Okay.
You wanted to go to the next slide or something? You want to complete your topic?
So I'll just complete. If time permits, we can show the video. Otherwise, no point continuing with this. No. So anyway, so I'll complete the presentation. So this there was a video of a CTR injection. This is how it was.
You'll have to share your screen again.
This video was that to show that. Okay. Sorry.
Here again.
Yeah. Is that visible now?
Yes.
So the idea of including this video and the next one with a CTR along with iris hooks, which was again a similar period, was they were all traumatic cataracts, was to show that zonular dialysis, despite the zonular dialysis, the remaining zonules were strong in younger patients of trauma. This next video was of Sioni rings along with capsule hooks and post-op day picture, and then the CTS and a combination of CTS capsule segment, that is along with capsule hooks. So in conclusion, traumatic subluxate cataracts, although challenging, can be dealt with effectively by careful planning and optimal use of capsular support devices. One should be familiar with surgical principles for subluxated cataract and the use of all capsule support devices. Successful outcome in such trauma cases can be life-altering for the patient and immensely gratifying for the surgeon. Thank you for a patient here.